Hey class, so I'm doing my community security on Barrow, Alaska. It is home of the Inupiat people and has a population of just over 4,300. Um, it's the northernmost city in Alaska, I believe, located up on the North Slope. So my definition of community security is to have the ability to live free from fear in the group setting you put yourself in or become a part of. To elaborate on that, when I view community as, say, for example, living in like a big city, you'll have your community. So you have your neighborhoods, but then you'll also have your grocery store, and then whatever other stores are kind of in that little plaza that is by your neighborhood. Um, and though I would consider that a community, and there's a bunch of those obviously scattered throughout big cities. For Alaska, community I think could be more so kind of like that, but it would could be a whole village. So for Barrow, I would say that is one big community. Some indicators of community insecurity is oil field development, crime rates, and then I chose other human securities, which is I'll elaborate on later on. And the root causes are economic security, substance abuse. So my findings, the Bureau of Land Management has increased oil and gas development by 18.6 million acres. Um, and there are three natural gas fields in the area. Uh, that affects your community security because community like Barrow, they rely on subsistence. Food's very pricey. So, and not only subsistence to feed, but also it's like a tradition. That's what each generation is taught, and they celebrate it, and all sorts of stuff like that. So, having these oil fields, and they come in and uh, do whatever they got to do, but that is changing animal migration patterns, making it harder to find caribou, say, for example. Uh, the land that the people of Barrow would hunt on for subsistence, I would say, is part of their community. And with this oil and gas development, it's affecting their community by changing migration patterns, making it harder to travel, uh, which is a lot. They'll have to travel farther for because of the migration patterns are changing, which then costs more money on gas. It could be maybe they have less time out there, whatever that may be. And then we have violent crime is 43.4, and the U.S. average is 22.7. Property crime is 52.4, U.S. average 35.4. So that's on a scale that was ranked on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low and 100 being the highest. Under violent crimes, that consists of murder, rape, assault, negligent manslaughter, and property crime focused on burglary, larceny, theft, vehicle theft, as well as arson. And then, so to elaborate on other securities, this little diagram I made on the right side is kind of it. This is obviously different for everyone, but um, so you could say the left side is more and the right side is less, and then you have your happy medium in the middle. These aren't in any specific order, but like oil and gas uh, affects the environment. So you got to so for Barrow, for instance, um, getting paid dividends for this oil and gas development, which is helping their economic security. But at the same time, now you're giving up maybe a little bit of community security, and with all the big smokestacks and polluting the air, you also give up environmental security. Um, on the other hand, you could say that it's beneficial and it's enhancing your food security because maybe you're getting more money to um, buy the high price food in the area. So that's kind of, obviously that's the diagram's gonna be different for everyone, but that's kind of what I meant for other securities are gonna affect community security. It all depends on what kind of community you're living in, your values of the community, the ways of life of community. Um, so again, going back to around week one, where we learned that each security is going to impact one or more other securities. Some strategies I found were I thought of were community programs. So implementing community programs that can teach the ways of life, the traditions, um, and keeping that passed down from generation to generation, whether that's in school or programs out of school where you can learn subsistence, or learn about the past and how it used to be, almost like a type of a history type programs, and um, how you can the younger generations can continue to pass that knowledge down, even with all the oil field and gas development affecting the some of their ways of life, like the migration patterns, which they are affecting them catching animals, which they need to, because that's part of subsistence, and that's something they've done for thousands of years. As per the crime issues, they have an integrated behavioral health, which provides mental health services, therapy, substance misuse treatment, um, and then they have 24-hour dispatch center, which it's the North Star Borough Police Department. So fortunately for the Barrow community, the headquarters for the North Star Borough Police Department is located in Barrow. Um, so that helps their community when with the crime and stuff that's going on. Um, but it's a downfall for other communities that might be farther away in the North Star Borough and might not have the cops in range to come and help or give them the assistance they need. When I was listening to the interview, the one thing I found, three things I found interesting. I chose the highway system mainly because she talked about how, because of the highway system coming in and out of Tasalina, I believe it was, um, the number of DUI accidents from the highway, and which were obviously has an issue with substance abuse, drinking too much, and Barrow is a damp community, I believe. So a benefit for them, relating it to Barrow, is they don't have that highway system, which I think can make their community a little safer, uh, because they don't have those roads where people can just come and go, or say there's a highway connecting to a wet community, they can't just go there, get drunk, do whatever they plan to do, and then head back to Barrow and maybe cause some mischief, or um, do illegal stuff, which is what peaks those crime rates. Another thing I found interesting were the crime rates peaking once the VSPO came in or was implemented into the area. I found this interesting because I was curious to wonder if VPSO was in every community, um, would this happen for every community? Would the crime rates peak, or or are there some communities out there that, even with or without cops, if they are just ran by tribal leaders, and do they have those high crime rates, or would they still be low crime rates, even with the cops? I was just curious how that would vary for each village or community. And then another thing was tribe members reporting to the troopers. So she talked about how not all communities or villages have VPSO, because it obviously costs a lot of money to have people go there. The training, for I guess vehicles, outfits, salaries, all that stuff. That's obviously not cheap. So these smaller communities don't have that luxury of being able to report to VPSO or troopers. So I found it interesting that tribe members of those communities that don't have that opportunity or don't have the VPSO, for example, in the community, they they would report to the troopers, and the troopers would then tell them how to handle the situation. I found that really interesting because um, I feel like in Alaska villages, it's respecting with elders is really big, but tribal leaders, I would imagine, are maybe older people, and I was interested in how them telling or handling the situation that would happen in the community and how it would be different um, if the troopers were there to handle it or to arrest them or that kind of situation. And I'd be interested to look into other communities and see actually um, what the rates were for crime and theft and all that stuff. So yeah, I found that the interview very interesting, and I feel like my money issue is a big thing aside from access to communities for community security. And then here are my references.